Guys, what is up? It is the Kansas Kid. We're going to be talking about strict silver stacking, and I'm going to streamline what I've been doing a little more precise. So I am going for more weight, more constitutional, more gold. I'm going to be a lot more picky than what I've done in the past years that I've stacked. So you guys have seen my I'd buy that videos. So there are certain pieces out there that, if I come across them, I always, look for them and search them out. But if I come across them, that I would buy. But besides those items, like there's all kinds of vintage silver, all these different rabbit holes you can go down. But I've got to the point where I know what I like and I know what I want. And if I find the pieces that I want, I will buy them. But I'm not just going to willy-nilly just be buying all kinds of just random stuff because I think I'm done with that. I've streamlined a lot of my stuff, and I've traded and I've upgraded and I've moved stuff around to where I want the direction of my stack to go. So there's a handful of things that I love to collect that are low mintage or vintage and stuff like that. But right now, I'm going to strictly stack weight. I'm going to be very strict about what I'm doing and what I'm stacking. And just a little at a time. I picked up a 5-ounce bar. This is a 5-ounce Silvertown bar, American flag. Got a good price on it, so I like 5-ounce bars. That's good. A few more quarters to add to my tube. And I think once I fill this tube of quarters up, then I'll be done with my quarters. I will probably, from there, I'll probably go back to half dollars. And I think that's where I want to focus my direction at with constitutional as half dollars. I've got all of the tubes I was working on, my Morgans, they're done. So once I get to a spot that I like, then I change stuff around. So I'll fill this up, then I'm gonna go back to half dollars. I have 6 of these Scottsdale 10-ounce stackers. I'm gonna get 4 more. That's by the end of this year. That's one of my goals. 4 more of those. Gold. I have more gold that I want to get, but what I'm working on, guys, is just being strict about what I'm doing, being strict about stacking specific things. Now, I always have tubes going. I've got a tube of Buffaloes going. I've got some tubes of half dollars going. I've got tubes of American Silver Eagles going. I've got a tube of just random generics going. Stuff you come across, or I pick up an auction or whatever it may be that's just cheap, whatever. I throw in a tube. It's a mixed tube, not a big deal. But I'm not going after anything necessarily specific besides these Scottsdale stackers, because I want 100 ounces in just those. And gold, it can be anything. Gold, I'm looking for the cheapest thing I can possibly buy. Once I get 4 more of these and I got 100 ounces in just the stackers, the 5-ounce and 10-ounce bars I'm looking at, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they are. I'm going for the cheapest possible. I'm going to be very strict about adding weight. Already this year, I've been able to add quite a bit of generic weight, and that's kind of the direction I want to go with it. I have the vintage that I have. What am I trying to say? Like I've sought after the pieces. Now there are other pieces I want to add to my collection, but I'm already in that. I'm already in that wheel. I'm already spinning that wheel, and I already know what I want. And really, there's nothing else out there that really, draws me in. I'm a type of guy where I can have one. Now I know there's variations, but I can have one of something and I'm okay with it. If it's a 1-ounce piece, maybe 1 tube of something. Things like that. I don't need a lot of one thing when it comes to vintage silver. Vintage silver, I don't mind having one example of Swiss of America bar, one example of a Rocky Mountain Mint bar, one example of a Crown Mint bar, whatever it may be, as far as vintage goes. Now, generic bullion, just stacking weight, I can have as many of those. It doesn't matter. Like I want 10 of these, but there's nothing special about these. It's a little bit different, but that's kind of the mindset I'm trying to change to. It's just I'm changing my approach to stacking. I'm changing my method. I'm changing my my style of stacking, and I've done this numerous times before. And I think it's good for people to do that. I think it's good for people to try different things, and once they meet a goal, to turn and go another direction to see where it takes them. And I feel really good about getting my stack streamlined. I feel really good about having more generic weight in my stack, and that's the direction I want to go. I think that's the direction I'm going to go mainly this entire year. And if I can add, another, who knows, 250, 300 ounces this year, then I'll be happy with that. And that's shooting kind of high. I probably won't even add that much because I'll be adding a little gold in too. But I feel pretty good now. And also, I think if the spot price jumps up even higher than it is, gets into 35 and higher range, if I don't think I need to buy, I don't have to. I don't need to be adding all that weight. I'll probably continue to go ahead and get the 4 more of these 10-ounce Scottsdales, but I've got some other things going on. Besides that, my world coin collection, my worldwide silver coin, I'm going to be focusing on that. That's going to be my, going after certain things. So that's going to scratch that itch of doing that. Besides just, we don't want to get bored with stacking just generic bullion of the same stuff. So that's going to keep me on my toes. Speaking of, I picked up this is a silver coin from Greece, and I'll be showing this in another video. And also, this is one of my new favorites. This is a 20-cent coin from Honduras, and it's like 80% silver. I really like the design on this. It's very cool. So I'll be going over this one. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I've got a lot of stuff going on. My oldest son is graduating high school this year, and he is going off to college. And there's a lot of costs and stuff that are affiliated and associated with kids graduating and going to college and things like that. So streamline what I'm doing. I don't need a bunch of random one-offs of silver. Even being vintage silver, I know what I like. I know what I want to go after, and that's what I'm going to do. And I've already got that kind of mapped out. Other than that, it's going to be just bulk, generic silver, and constitutional, and whatever I can find cheap for gold. Guys, that is going to be my strategy coming up. And hopefully, besides that, we're going to talk some other stuff. I've got some things on my mind as far as ideas and things I want to kind of get out there and ask people questions about. So, and then my world silver coins, I have that going on, and that's what we have happening. So, what do you guys think? Have you guys changed up your stacking strategy before? Are you looking at doing it now with the spot price increasing? I know I've heard a bunch of you guys, talking about getting back to the basics and this and that. And I guess that's kind of like what this is, but I don't know. Me, it's just being streamlined, being strict about what you're doing. With the price of silver going up, you have to really be picky, or I do anyway. I have to be picky about what I buy. And I know that right now, buying stuff, to me, like I said, because of my position in vintage silver, I want to go more weight. And I think for me, that's going to benefit me right now and benefit me better in the future. So that's what we're doing. Guys, I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon.